This is the 2024 Land Rover Discovery Dynamic SE. Is it worth every penny? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. I borrowed this Discovery from my friends at Land Rover of Shreveport. If you want to know more about this model or anything else they have in inventory, check out the link down in the description of the video. That'll get you started. And as we take a look here, you're going to find this is a great all-around vehicle no matter where you live, especially if you live in a place where you get snow and ice and all of that, because it's going to come standard with full-time all-wheel drive. Your lighting will definitely help after dark because you have LED headlights with signature daytime running lights. Plenty of air getting in for the engine through your upper and lower grills here. Here is your remote. No changes for 2024 where that is concerned, but for those who would like to know, well, there is what you have. And while I have the remote in hand, let's talk about the power folding side view mirrors. You can see they fold in right there when I lock the interior, and when I unlock things, they're going to fold back out. You also see in action right there the built-in turn signal indicator. We'll also have power adjustable heated side view mirrors. It will have a lot of great features and functionality there to help you out driving down the road. Rear privacy glass, this by the way is a 3-row model. And you'll find your shark fin antenna up there on the roof. As far as the rear roof spoiler goes, that's definitely not just there to look nice. It helps to channel air over this rear window, helps to keep that clean when you're driving down the road. Now you might notice there's no windshield or rear window wiper right here. Well, it's here, it's just neatly tucked away. You can see it right here in this area inside of the rear roof spoiler. And this model does come with the ability to tow. If that's something you want to do, you just need to put your hitch in there and you're good to go. And here under the hood of this particular model is going to be the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. You can get rid of that plastic right there and show you what's underneath. It's a little hot underneath here, that's for sure. Let's see if I can get a little bit more out of the way. There we go, to show you what's here. I don't know why they don't just leave all of that off. It would just make it so much easier. And yes, I will put that back in place. It's a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It makes 295 horsepower and 296 pounds-feet of torque, mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. How about the MPGs? 19 city, 24 highway, 21 combined, and 4.8 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. And before anybody asks, yes, I put the cover back in place. Everything is where it should be. And one more thing before we move on, for those of you who might want to know what the gas tank size is. You have a gas cap here as opposed to capless fuel fill. Nothing unusual for Land Rovers. For those of you who don't like capless fuel fill, that's probably good news. It's a 23.8 gallon gas tank in case you were curious to know. And how about our tire and wheel size? 285 will be your width, plenty of meat on the ground, a 40 series sidewall, and in this case, these are the optional 22-inch wheels. And depending on how you spec your Discovery out or how it's spec'd out when you go to the dealership, your towing ranges between 5,952 pounds up to as much as 8,200 pounds. Your cargo capacity will range between 9.1 up to 74.3 cubic feet. And we'll go ahead and show you the split tailgate here as far as everything goes. You've got this area right here. You could use that as a seat and have a little bit of shade above your head. I might have to do that here in just a little while, but I think I better hop inside and use the air conditioner because it is rather warm today. And if you want to change the height of the vehicle, you do have your air ride suspension. And so let me go ahead and we'll raise this up all the way in the back. And depending on what you need to do, well, you have some options where that's concerned. There we go. Now it's starting to rise quickly. I don't know if you can see that on the screen, but we'll back up here in just a second and give you a view from the outside. So you can see the difference, at least I hope so, that the back end has raised up. It raises up and lowers very quickly. That's a very nice feature to have. If you need to lower it, well, we're just going to go ahead and let all of the air out, and that is lowering nice and fast. I really like that. That's a nice benefit depending on what you need to do. You also have a 12-volt power outlet right here. The cargo cover right there is removable. There's a couple of reasons why you might want to do that, not only in maximizing cargo capacity, which is done by lowering these seats as you can see, but also lowering the third row of seats. And notice that I'm not touching anything. They're going down automatically. You also just have to pull back on the buttons to get them to come back up. I like that. So all I'm going to do is do this, and you'll notice that the seats are coming back up again. There are other models out there, competitors, whether they're mid-size or full-size SUVs, where you have to hold the buttons down to get everything to go back in place. And there actually is another configuration here. You can lower that middle seat down and use that as a pass-through. And there is said pass-through, as I was mentioning earlier in the video. And if you want to see everything folded down and maximized, I'm going to go ahead and let those seats down so you can see how everything looks in the event that you're just curious to know. By the way, you do have a panoramic sunroof. I have the shade drawn forward right now. I'll show you how that looks with that moved out of the way. You also have some bag hangers back here in the rear, one on each side, and there is also going to be lighting on each side as well. I like the fact that that is angled in and towards the interior in this area where you really need that. And as we take a look into the interior with the back seat area, we're gonna have plenty of room on the armrest right here. There is a nice roomy door bin. And when it comes to maybe you need to maximize your cargo space back there, on both sides here on the driver's side door and over there on the passenger side, you'll also find these buttons. And all you have to do is pull these buttons back and watch what happens. These seats get out of the way, the middle row seats, that will allow you to lower those rear seats. There is some room back there. I'd say that's probably better for the kids than it is for the adults, but the adults could fit back there. And another question that needs to be answered here is reclining seats. Yes, these seats do recline a little bit. There is a control on both sides, here on the driver's side or the left side and the right side over there as well. So, and if you're curious to know how I lowered this middle seat, here's how I did that. You do need to lower the headrest first for that to work, to use it as a pass-through, in case you were wondering. And I also told you about the panoramic sunroof. We have the rear sunroof back here, and you also have that front sunroof. I went ahead and opened the shades. That front portion will open. This back portion is affixed in place. And I can tell you from sitting in these middle row seats, you definitely want to put the recline in to make them as comfortable as possible. And you can see the switch right there to control the power windows. Here are the rear doors. You're going to have one on each side. And you have 4 zones of climate control. You can control each side and control fan speed. You can also control the temperature of the seats. Now, these second and third row seats only have the heated seats. I wish they had ventilated. That would make life so much better, but that's the way it is. So there's how you're going to control the fan speed and the temperature of the seats. Especially right now, you don't really need that to control the heated seats. They're going to be heated if it stays out in the sun long enough. A couple of USB options, and we'll also have a 12-volt power outlet right there. And if you were curious to know what everything looks like here, well, here is what we have. And if you want to turn the lights on and off, there you go. We're going to use these switches right here to do that. And something I like is the fact that you have the air conditioning vents built into the roof. They don't have to travel. The air doesn't have to travel as far to get to your passengers. You still have the air conditioning vents built into the rear of the center console. That is going to be helpful as well. And we'll have our rear seat pockets here to help out with additional storage. Also, the fold-down armrest with the cup holders built in. And what about the sticker price at Land Rover of Shreveport? $76,868. The exterior color on this model is going to be Santorini black. Caraway Windsor leather is your interior. Let's take a look at what you'll find here. A little larger door bin with the front door areas. Not unusual. That's what we have. All of the windows are controlled right here. I know out of habit, I know I reach down here a lot if I need to roll the windows down, but obviously it's up here. And you have your 3 settings for seat memory right there, lock and unlock, large door bins down there. And as we look at the instrument cluster, you can see that you can bring up navigation if you want to, among other things. That just makes it a lot easier when using navigation instead of having to look over to the 11.4-inch Pivi Pro infotainment screen, although you could do that. There's your digital speedometer there as well. and your steering wheel mounted controls. This model does have adaptive cruise control, by the way, and you can work your way back and forth through the 8-speed automatic transmission with your shifter paddles if you want to. You control the functionality of your headlights and tail lights here. Also, those things that are so underused. I think one of the most underused things on a vehicle that maybe adds value, because when you trade your Discovery in for a newer Discovery or whatever Land Rover model it is, they don't have to replace any turn signal bulbs because so many people don't use those. But maybe you're that rare person who does. Yes, it's okay to laugh. I like to throw that in just for the fun of it. Here we control something that we can't say anything sarcastic about. Your front and rear window wipers. And behind that is your button for starting and stopping the engine. And something I did hint at earlier, and that effect you see going across the Pivi Pro infotainment screen, that has to do with my camera. It does not have to do with the screen itself. But you can see that you have a lot going in here. There's built-in navigation. You can connect your phone. It is wirelessly done, and a lot of information going on here. You can see what's going on with the vehicle right there. When I turn the wheels, you'll notice that those turn on the screen. And why might that be helpful if you're driving through a reasonable amount of snow or maybe some water, high water? Well, here's the thing. It looks like the front wheels are pointed straight based on where the steering wheel is right now, but you can see that they're not on the screen. So just something to think about, something that you have there. If we want to go and see all of our different features and functionality, here are the different icons. If you need low traction launch in a slick situation, there's where you turn that on. Very easy to know what's going on here. Vehicle dimensions, you're going to have that. If somebody says, well, tell me about the vehicle dimensions on your Land Rover Discovery. Well, just bring the screen up. Save yourself some time and let them see it for themselves. There is so much here. I'm not going to cover every little detail, but you can get an idea of what you have. And here with the front seats, we can either control everything here on the screen, or we can do it with our controls down here, very similar to what we saw in the back seat area. You can see that I have the ventilated seats on. You also have the heated seats. You can even do that with the rear seats, but no ventilated seats back there, so I'm staying in the front, that's for sure. Seat heat, there's more if you want to see what's going on there. You can even fold down the headrests right there, and that is very helpful with this model. I don't know how well you can see that, but with that center headrest up, it is a little bit harder to see out of the back window. Not the end of the world, not necessarily a big deal, but that's what you have with that. Your built-in navigation, you know that's here. You've got your eco data. We could go in and look at so many different things. We won't do everything. How about energy impact? If you want to know what your energy impact is, well, there you go. Then you might want to go to Eco Tips if you're not happy with your energy impact. And history, there you go. So much going on here, we could do a full video on the infotainment screen all by itself. But here is one of my favorite features, the multiple camera views on and around the vehicle. There is literally a way to see every potential vantage point that you might want to see. We can go back to our 360-degree view if we want to see what's going on right here. Pretty easy to deal with. You can use the hunt and peck method, as I like to call it, just to surf your way through and look around the vehicle. You can see from every possible angle. So if somebody parks too close to you, you don't have to worry about it. You can see how close you are to hitting them, or if you happen to be the person who maybe parked too close. How about off-road? What does that do? Well, that could help in a few different ways. It's going to give you that front camera view so you can see what's in front of you. Maybe you're not able to see something and you're wondering, am I about to hit something? Or it could just be anything. You could be driving around the neighborhood, and just a lot of different things where that's concerned, where that can come in handy. Towing, you can back up to a trailer and hitch right up, and you will be good to go. A lot going on here. Very simple, very easy to deal with. And just as with the case with your rear seat area, there's how you're going to control everything. You just push or pull on the knobs right there. And a very easy system to use as far as that goes. And you even have a little bit of storage space hidden away right here. Well, how well you can see, there's how far my hand goes in there. So really nice to have that. That works out very well. And your wireless charging pad will be right here. We have a USB connectivity option here. As you can see, if you want to conceal away the cup holders, you can do that. The button for controlling the radio and the volume on the radio right there and then your driving modes. Let's go through those driving modes real fast here. That's going to come up here on the screen. There's your eco mode, comfort mode. You also have grass, gravel, and snow. And then you have mud and ruts, sand, water, or excuse me, wade, if you're going through some water. Or if you want the vehicle to choose for you, depending on the driving conditions, you can just push down right there. Very easy to deal with. And I'm glad it's cooler in here than it was earlier. There's a little area of storage right there, depending on what you want, but you also have this area. I would love to have it be a lot larger. Turn it on, let it get cool in there, and I could just kind of stick my head in there if it would fit, but I'm too big-headed for that. Yes, you can laugh. More connectivity options right there, easy to deal with. Now, one thing I do want to say right here, it works well to use the center console lid as an armrest. I just wish it was a little further forward because my arm's going to be hanging off of there, but I don't know, maybe for some people that's no big deal. Just showing you what's here. Now you do have the fold down armrests here on the seats. You can use that as well, and this controls where they actually end up, the height, if you want to adjust the height there. But it's very much like the same thing we have with the center console. I wish they were just a little bit longer, but not necessarily a big deal. Right here on the upper console, here's where you control the rear shade for that rear sunroof and the front sunroof right here with the shade, and opening and closing that is done right here. And you can see what else we have as far as this area goes. A heated steering wheel as well. It just seems so strange to talk about that when the temperature is as high as it's going to be today. But I tell you what, I'm grateful that I get to be inside of the Discovery instead of outside. Speaking of that, let's go ahead and take our test drive so I can enjoy the ventilated seats for a little longer. All right, here we go on our test drive with the Discovery. A very comfortable and smooth ride quality, and a very versatile vehicle in a multitude of situations because of the fact that it's all-wheel drive. So whether you're dealing with snow and ice, or maybe the roads are just wet, whatever it is, there's a lot of things where that could come in very handy. The ride quality itself is comfortable. Got your air ride suspension, that always helps. And the seats themselves seem to be comfortable. Very, very adjustable for the driver and the passenger up here. That's always a good thing. And as I showed you earlier, the adjustability with the back seats is more so in the recline, which is always nice to have. A lot of you ask about that, so I'll let you know that it is there with these seats. That's always good to know. And the controls here are very easy to learn and use. It might look complicated, but it is not complicated at all. Very easy to deal with. Something that some might wonder about, if you go with that 4-cylinder engine under the hood, what is it going to be like? 295 horsepower, is it enough? Well, based on my experience in today's test drive before I turn the camera on, it sure seems that way. Now, everybody is going to have their varying opinions about that depending on what you are used to and what you desire. You might have to go with more horsepower and more torque, which is not a big deal. That's understandable in my opinion. There's always a need for more of that, but not a big deal if you just want to stick with this 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. Acceleration is good. The gas pedal and the brake pedal, very easy to manage. Not a big deal. So that's always good news for those who are wondering. Steering is nice. It's very responsive, so that's always a good thing. Depending on what you're coming from, you might be coming from a vehicle that has very fast steering, slow steering, I don't know. But one way or another, you're in good shape with everything that we have here. So we're gonna go ahead and get on up here, get on up the road. Everybody, for some reason, wanting to get over, I guess because this lane is moving faster than that lane. One thing I didn't mention earlier in the video that I do want to make sure I cover, it shouldn't be a big surprise here, is the fact that you have a tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. That control is over here on the right-hand side, so if you're wondering about that, I know out of habit because of what I'm used to, I reach over here on the left and then have to remember it's a Land Rover. It's over here on the right hand side. So tell me what you think about the 2024 Land Rover Discovery Dynamic SE. Is it worth every penny? Tell me what your thoughts are. I do want to say a special thanks to my friends at Land Rover of Shreveport for loaning me this Discovery for the day, and a special thanks to all of you for taking the time to watch and giving me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button. That really helps me out. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I'll see you there.